Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101. And I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today I'm going to be talking about one of the subjects that I am giving at the Food Truck Owners Expo in Houston. That subject is how to market in your off-season. I do want to remind you about that Food Truck Owners Expo in Houston, Texas, July 29th and 30th of this year. I'm going to be giving 3 classes. You already heard one topic, and that was marketing in the off-season. The other 2 topics are us speaking with a single voice as a food vendor group so that we can make changes in our own industry. And the other one is on writing a profitable menu. Then after I give those classes, I'm going to be out on the main expo floor in an area that's called the Campfire Networking Lounge. And you guys can sit and join me. You can ask me questions. You can listen to me talk about a whole bunch of other topics, all pertaining to food trucks. And we can have a good conversation and we can network with each other and get to meet other food truck owners. So again, that's going to be this year, July 29th and 30th in Houston, Texas. And if you can't make Houston, we're going to do it again in Orlando. If you would like to attend, please go to ftoexpo.com, put in your order today, and when you do, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. And I certainly hope to see you guys either in Houston or in Orlando. I want to thank Table Needs for sponsoring this episode of the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. Table Needs is a full-service POS system that's capable of handling your busy food truck, cash, credit card, and reporting needs. Check out the link in the description for more information about Table Needs. So let's talk about how to market in your off-season. Seems like a fairly simple concept. You just keep on marketing. But the problem is you're not open. So people start to lose the habit of eating at your food truck, especially your loyal guests. The more people that you get that habitually come to your food truck, and that habit could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, but they come frequently enough that you recognize them and you become a part of their routine, that's super important. But when you're not open, they end up getting out of the habit of visiting your food truck. And that can hurt your business when you reopen again the next year. There's a food truck that's in Canada, and they open sometime in April, and I can't remember exactly when they open, but they open sometime in April, and they run until October 31st, and then they close until the next year. So they're open about half the year, and then they're closed about half the year. They're in their 4th season right now. And if you want to look them up, it's Pearson Street Smash Burgers and Melts. And you need to look them up because they are awesome at, number one, selling food. Everything that I've seen them put out looks amazing. But they're also really good about marketing. And it's not only marketing on a daily basis, but marketing in the off season. You got to keep people remembering that you exist. Now, with them only being open a few months out of the year, the few months that they're open, they are super, super busy. And they're busy because 2 things. They serve amazing food and they market. They do social media and they do it well. And that's what you've got to learn. How can I be successful if I'm going to be closed? Whether it's 3 months, 6 months, doesn't matter. How do I get people to remember that I exist? Now, the other extreme is what I used to do. And what I did was, depending upon the year, there were some years that I worked all the way up until the week of Christmas, and in other years I just closed the 1st of December. Many years that I would close right after Thanksgiving, stay open to the Black Friday weekend, and then that would be it. And I wouldn't reopen again until sometime either in February or March. It just depended on what I wanted to do that particular year. But I learned that if I was going to close in December and then reopen in March, that people would forget about me because I just had a small hot dog cart and I wanted to be a part of their habit. But during the off season, I would still have to remind them, hey, my season starts in March. I would also, once social media became a thing, remind people that I existed. Because that's the easy way to do marketing in the off season. Keep your guests engaged, and you keep them engaged with content that they're going to be interested in from a food truck. So you talk about local things that are going on. Hey, I'm going to be at the fireworks. I'll be handing out coupons. I'm going to be at the fireworks for New Year's Eve. I'll be handing out coupons. I open in March. That's a little bit of a stretch, but it kept people talking about me and kept people remembering that I existed. As far as the content goes on social media, I would do a mix of, let's talk about a recipe. And it doesn't have to be a recipe I was selling. It could be something that I found somewhere that made sense for my line of food. Hey, would you all do this? Would y'all enjoy this? And then put the recipe up. I found this at foodnetwork.com. I'm going to do this March. What do y'all think? So you're making posts and asking questions. You're getting people remembering that you exist. And you do that every couple of days. You got to keep your business top of mind. And then as you're getting closer to opening, whatever month it's going to be, you need to start getting yourself out. Where am I going to be setting up? And then once you know where you're going to be setting up, talking to those businesses that are surrounding that area and just let them know what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be selling, when you're going to be selling it. You've got to have a plan when it comes to marketing, when it comes to your business. And that really is the weakness that a lot of folks have. They kind of fly by the seat of their pants. Oh, today I'm going to set up. And then they go set up. And it ends up being not as successful as it could have been because they didn't have a plan. They haven't talked to people and reminded them, I'm going to be at the brewery. I'm going to be at the winery. I'm going to be at whatever it is. The farther out you can notify people and build up anticipation for your opening, the better off you're going to be. Again, look at what Pearson Street does. They get people saying, I can't wait for y'all to get open again. Or they'll say, I miss the burger. I miss whatever product it is that they miss. You got to have those conversations. You got to keep people remembering you exist. It's so much easier now with social media because you can talk to people, have conversations, increase your follower totals in the off season. That's what you got to work on. You might be closed in December and January, but there's no reason why you don't increase your followers. And it only takes a few hours at most a week. Schedule some stuff, find unique content, and then talk to people. It's just all about how you can stay engaged with your followers, stay engaged with the businesses. Now, when you come to Houston and when you come to Orlando, I'll give you a whole bunch more tips on what you can do to market in the off season that will help you to actually grow the business. I used to do something to remind people, I'm getting ready to open. I would remind people in those neighborhoods, I'm going to be there. Because I learned, even in my tourist area, I've got to depend upon the locals. Because the locals are there all the time. Tourists, especially in Florida, they get scared off by things that Floridians, no big deal. For example, tropical storm. But if you live anywhere in the United States, you will have harder storms than a tropical storm pass through, but because they pop up randomly and sometimes they dissipate randomly, you don't hear about them for days on end because they can't be tracked. Tropical storm is out in the ocean for days upon days where nothing's there to make it dissipate. So they can track it and tell you, oh my God, it's going to be horrible. But those things scare away tourists. People that live in Florida, we're used to it. No big deal. But I got to depend upon those people that aren't going to be scared away. And I imagine you probably have some guests like that too. Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. Please take a moment to follow our podcast. And if you really do like what we do, just show us a little bit of support. There'll be a link in the descriptions to help you do that. Every little bit does help keep us going. I want to thank you guys so much and I hope you guys have a profitable week. And I certainly hope I will see you in Houston in about 2 weeks.